Hello again. As you know, I've stopped searching. I've done all the solves that I'm ever going to do with the poem. Watched the video today. Rossby left a message or comment with regard to maybe it was the quarry they saw, something like that. Those people looking for a blaze. What could possibly be a good blaze if you consider what was originally said that was going to be in the poem? Stones and bones would last for years, thousands of years maybe. Bones lasting thousands of years. Are they Forrest Fenn's bones? Or are they the bones of something, or, well, something, not someone else? So are they the bones of something that could be the blaze? You know me, I'm not saying it is. What I'm saying is it's information out there that you can't just dismiss. You can't just dismiss it or not understand it. Bones last a long time. They last a long time. Better than trees. Better than trees. So there's information that could possibly be useful and should be put in as something you should consider. Talked about the quarry, and there's a solve that I've done, but I don't want to say about it in detail. I have discussed it, I have talked about it in the videos before now, talked about the empty degree to the letter, etc, etc, but I'm not going to go into detail about the solve because somebody is actually going for that solve now, and it's not a boots on the ground solve. So unless that person decides I've had enough and they're not going to keep going with it, then I'm not going to say nothing about it. But apart from this, which is not saying about the solve, but those people who want the poem to be about Eric Sloane, they're right. And if they want it to be about Ernest Hemingway, they're right. And if they want it to be about fetching, they're right. And if they want it to be about Miss Ford, they're right. And if they want it to be about Salinger, they're right. And if they want it to be about the family, they're right. They're all right, because all the information is there. All of it. Every single bit of it is there. There's a showdown in the poem. There's places and names, rivers. There's all sorts in that poem. But you might think I'm talking bull, but I'm not. Seriously not. And I've talked about the other ones, and I've talked about Try the Wheel, and I've talked about possibly most of the solves you can do, and they all tell you something. Most of them don't tell you anything about a chest full of gold in the Rocky Mountains. They don't. They just give you information. And I suppose it was Forrest Fenn's way of saying thank you to all them people, all places, whatever, that impacted on his life and made lots of asterisks, whatever you want to call them, out of those people and places in the poem, in the book. And like I said before, that poem could have this bit for cars, this bit for rivers, this bit for people, this bit for places, this bit for events. There's so much in the poem. You wouldn't believe it, and it would take a long time to work it all out, and it would take a lot of pages to write it out all separately as to how you find them, what they are, what they're about, possibly why they were put in there. So you could have a page or more for each with a few pictures just thrown in for good measure. So, but it is, at the end of it, it is a what took so long sort of solve. If you get to the right bit that you need to understand, if you understand that bit, there is a bit in it that you could say, oh, what took me so long? But that's over and above the solve that could end the chase. There's a solve that could end the chase, and there's more than one solve in that method with different answers, but one of them follows the poem precisely and the others are not precisely, contiguously. So it follows it precisely, but it's not contiguously. And then that leads me to one foot on the other. Excuse me. You have to put in all the facts. And I started off by talking about synonyms. You have to understand the information you're given. What is foot? If I said to you it was square, not square foot, just foot and square, synonym. Foot and square. Square in the book. Not saying it's the connection, I'm just saying those are the facts. Foot, square. End, go, leave. Towards the end of the poem, foot comes up a fair few times towards the end of the poem. If you've downloaded the app, the Hippo Word app, or other word apps, they are available. Not trying to plug that one, it's just that's the one that I used. That's where I got the information. If you chose to, that's where you get the information. So, I've talked about try the wheel. I've talked about doing it to the letter. I've talked about sliding. I've give you every sort of possible hint as to what I did with regard to how to solve the poem. In many ways. Not just in one way, in many ways. And I've also said, if it's coincidental, it's coincidental. I do not know how it was done. I have no idea how all that information could have been put into the poem, how it was done, and all of them tell you something. Not where the chest is. They don't all say the chest is here. They don't all say that. But they all say something about the chase, about Forrest Fenn's life. They all say something. And maybe one of them tells you how to win the chase. So, I've talked about, I don't do boots on the ground, I think the poem can be solved. I'm starting to believe that there is information out there that could help you solve it boots on the ground, and I've talked about those already. But more and more information comes to light that says, if you just did this, if you just did these things and followed everything that you were given, you could narrow down the search area to where the chest could possibly have been, was, whatever you believe. One thing I will say is, those people that say the chest wasn't there, I won't entertain that for there is a chest, it can be found. You find the chest, I am 100% certain that Forrest would have honoured whatever was said, given title to the gold. Whatever was said, I'm 100% certain that that would have been honoured. If you found the chest where it was hidden, if you solved the 9 clues precisely, if you found the end of the rainbow, all the information, if you did all them things, I am sure you would have been rewarded for all the hard work put in. Even the later videos have information in them. So from the very early ones, no doubt about it, Lorraine Mills, the Moby Dickens, there's another one, I can't remember the name of that. And there's one that's made private now that talks about the blaze and all sorts of things, as that information, which could possibly be somewhere else. But it's all information that was given to us, in whatever medium that was. Whether we heard it, whether we saw it, whether we read it. In the scrapbooks, I've already talked about scrapbooks before, but I'll say it again. We've been told about the chase through most of them scrapbooks. We've been told about the chase, and just because it's a word that you don't assume with the chase doesn't mean they weren't talking about the chase. Does not mean that. The chase was involved in them scrapbooks, the majority of those scrapbooks, I would say, in my opinion. And if you have those scrapbooks, you should read those scrapbooks and try to understand what was being said. was a lot of talk of lead searcher, and FORREST said, define lead searcher. That could only have happened if, and this is just me calculating, if in FORREST's mind that meant something. That must have meant something for there to need a definition of it. If it needed a definition, there is some form of lead searcher. There had to have been. Otherwise it would have been, nope, no such thing as a lead searcher. Don't know what you're talking about. If somebody says, if you ask somebody a question, they say, well, define that statement. That means there's something I can tell you if you tell me precisely what it is you want to know. Other than that, shut that up. So, could have been information there, more information than we were getting, and there probably was more information that wasn't understood, like the get out into the trees and go get the chest or whatever it is. Stop armchairing it to death. So absolutely information all throughout the chase, helping people. The fact that we chose to ignore it was our downfall. The poem, for me, because I can't go boots on the ground, remember my one and only attempt to Casper, private land, wrong side of the mountain, yada yada yada. Casper, treasury, spirit, those sort of things. Poem, anagrams, mutitsi, those sort of things. Saying, found it in Wyoming. Just cut it short now because I'm already going on. Found in Wyoming. If I solved the poem and somebody asked me where did I find it, I would say in England. That's not in the search area, I know. I didn't find it over there. I found it here. This is where I found it. If I was going to find it anyway, this is where I found it, on that laptop in England, in my house. I didn't find it anywhere else. I found it here. So, somebody asked me, I would say, yeah, I found it in England. And everyone would be like, no, you couldn't have done. There's only 4 states it could have been in. But I found it here. Here. I haven't found it there. Until I go over there. Well, I'm not going to go over there, that's the point. But unless I'd have gone over there, I found it here. This is where I found it. This is where the solution was. The fact that I know I'm right is only when I go over there. But I didn't find it there, because I've already found it here. If it is there, I already found it here. Didn't find it there. So that's just for those people who think, oh, New Mexico, Colorado, Montana. That's just the way out for it. But I'm not saying it's not in Wyoming. I'm just saying, if you ask me where I found it, I would say I found it here, in England. I would only know that I'd found it here if I went over there and then it proved that I was right. But I didn't find it there. I found it here. I found the location here. The fact that it is there doesn't mean I found it there. It means I retrieved it from there, but I found it here. So Jonathan, did you find it? Did you find it? And then say, Mr. FORREST FENN, Mr. FORREST FENN, I know where it is. Remember, FORREST was by the computer waiting for the emails. Did he get an email that says, boom? And then Jack said, where is it? Can I get it? Can I get it? And FORREST said, yeah, you solved it. And Jack was like, well, I don't have to worry now. Because even if someone else comes after me and says, FORREST FENN, this is a solution, it'll be too late. So Jack could stay in bed as long as he wanted to. Or Jonathan, whatever his name is. Whoever you are, Jack. Whoever you are. You could have stayed in bed as long as you wanted. Because it was in the safest place. Hadn't been found for 10 years. Given a solution. Job done. Can go to sleep knowing that nobody else can give FORREST FENN the information that was given and lead them to the treasure chest. Wouldn't happen. So just some things to think about. All these conspiracy people that say, well, this could happen and that could happen. I know all the information that was given. You don't need to tell me. I know all the information that was given. I'm just talking about possible facts It is possible to find it wherever you find it, and not being one of the search states. You can find it on your computer as a solution. You can possibly email that solution, which is why FORREST waited at the computer for an email. Once that email was received, the person could then say, please tell me where it is so I can go and get it, and then go and get it. Job done. I'm just saying, it probably isn't as bad as people are trying to make it out, if you look at it like that. If somebody found it on their computer and told them where there was when they found it, if they needed to get permission because they'd solved the poem, remember I talked about proxy or whatever, they'd solved the poem, not found the chest, two different things. Solved the poem, got permission, got the chest. Just saying. So I'm not a conspiracy person, but I'm just saying, for those people who are saying, oh well, this couldn't have happened, there's no way he slept in, and whatever else they're talking about. Of course there is. If the poem was solved, no one else was going to get that chest. No one. No one was going to get it. It was in the best possible place it could be. It had been there for years and years, and nobody was just going to stumble upon it. So it's quite possible, if you just stop and think, if you're not jealous, vindictive, upset, angry, whatever the feelings are with regard to the end of the chase, if you just sit back and think, well, hang on a minute, how could that possibly have happened? There's quite a possibly good, reasonable explanation that that could have happened. Somebody found the answer, gave FORREST the answer to the poem, asked FORREST if they could get the chest. FORREST said yes, they got the chest, brought it to FORREST. Didn't have to worry about getting up in the morning. It was still going to be there. It was still going to be there. And I tell you what, the relief when all the information was exchanged, I probably slept like a baby as well, and not worried about getting up in the morning. So I'm not saying that that's what happened. I'm just saying it's very possible it could happen. It's very possible that's why FORREST was at the computer. It's very possible that the chase was ended that day, night, whatever it was. It's very possible that Jonathan, Jack, whoever, went to sleep, got the chest at their leisure, and brought it back from wherever it was. So just some of my thoughts, only my opinions. I'm not saying these are facts, I'm just saying, if you just stop and think, lots of things could have happened that could fully explain everything that's been said. Even, I hate to admit it, even 25 days searching. So knowing where it was all that time, being in the right place all that time, and then solving the poem while you were out there. While you were out there going, oh, blimey, that's what it is. So 25 days of searching, not finding nothing. 25 days, then solving the poem. Maybe. Maybe just, oh, an epiphany. And emailed FORREST and said, FORREST, FENN, please tell me this is correct. Can I go and get the chest? So, another silly video by me. I just go waffling on sometimes because there's stuff that I want to say. And it wouldn't be fair if I did. So I talk about other stuff that might be helpful, or some might think it's a hindrance. And only if you watch, if you dislike it, I don't mind. I honestly don't mind. At the end of the day, I'm trying to help. If it helps you, it helps. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Oh, well aware, sorry. Yeah, it gives information. Yes, it gives directions, but not the, in my opinion, the sort of directions you're saying, because I have no idea, so I can't comment on it in the sense of boots on the ground directions. I have no idea what they are, boots on the ground directions. I only know about poem directions. So, good observations, yes. I can understand fully what you're saying. Absolutely can understand what you're saying with regard to what you've said. But in relation to boots on the ground, how you are taking that, only you know, because you're smarter than me. So lots of people are smarter than me. But I thank everybody for watching the videos. Thanks for all the likes. There are lots of things that I've said in lots of videos that I haven't published, and I thank lots of people that I've contacted and spoke to, the likes of Music Lyrics, Tim K, people like that I hardly mentioned because I've already mentioned them in videos that I didn't publish in the end. So if I haven't mentioned in the video, sorry, saying it now. Somebody else as well. Just so many videos, I don't know who else spoke to, and I haven't. Davey B, haven't heard from me for a while. I hope you've done west of Toledo, got all the Toledos, not just one, and done north of Santa Fe. I hope that helps you in what you are thinking. And Steve, come on man, waiting for you, come on. Cheers, thanks for watching.